Hello everyone, let me turn off the air conditioner so it doesn't blow. Welcome back to another Reacts. Jaguars lose again. Just like old times, right? They lose to the Browns 18-13 in an ugly, terrible, awful game that I can't even begin to describe how I feel. It's not mad. It's not anger. It's that sinking feeling that you know what's coming. And it isn't good. I chose not to watch today's game, so I'm not going to give you insight into how I thought everyone played or this or that. I just could not bring myself to watch this game today. And I decided to go golf with my dad because I'd rather enjoy myself as much as I can instead of just being miserable. And when you're a fan of a team that's consistently bad, as the Jacksonville Jaguars have been since this entire millennium, in the last 24 years, it's hard to get up week in and week out when you see this consistently. I don't know how to react anymore in a positive manner. It just feels like the wheels weren't rebuilt in the offseason from the collapse last year. And I don't know how you do that. How do you lost 5 or 6 last year and lost the division in a terrible way, but how do you not come into the season fix nothing? That's the same issues. The only thing that hasn't been happening yet is we haven't turned the ball over. Well, Trevor hasn't turned the ball over. Yay! He also hasn't looked like a $55 million quarterback either. Took 4 sacks today, including a bad safety that you just can't take. Get rid of the fucking ball. I know the pocket collapsed quickly, but you gotta get rid of the ball in that situation. Luckily, the Browns just cannot figure out how to win a game either, apparently, because the Browns be Browning, but I can't even make fun of Cleveland. I know I've said it in the reaction videos before, probably, but it really is tough when you root for a team that is absolutely miserable. And they're not fun. They're not enjoyable. They're not a lovable loser. Jaguars aren't a lovable loser. You're a laughing stock in the league. I guess I'm thankful that I don't live or around the Jacksonville, Florida area where I have to hear people bash on that area as well, because God, I think being a Jacksonville fan might be one of the worst things you could possibly do to yourself in sports. As you see, I'm not deciding not to wear a jersey to this. I thought I'd put it on, but it ain't worth it. Another winnable game. Made Deshaun Watson look like somewhat of a reasonable quarterback in a pouring rain. He didn't end up with a great stat, so I'm not like overly whatever. Josh Allen-Hines got his first sack of the season, and along with Aluakon got sacked today. But considering the Browns were playing with, I don't know, their 4th and 5th string tackles, you get 2 sacks. So same issues as always. Probably no interior pressure, I'm guessing. Trayvon Walker was a no-show. Jerry Jeudy had 5 for 73. Brian Thomas looks good. He had 2 for 94. He had a nice 66-yarder. So you may be asking, Zonk, Christopher, why it's 2 games. You say don't overreact to early season games, right? It's easy to be hyperbolic, to have hyperbole in early season games. Does anyone think the Saints are going to be the best team in the league, even though they've beaten the first 2 opponents by scoring 40 more points? No, of course not. But they did destroy Dallas today. But that also shows why Week 1 wasn't all that important, because Dallas destroyed Cleveland and then immediately in turn get their doors blown off at home to what's probably still going to be a mediocre Saints team. The problem with the Jags is, where's the wins? You had to get through your first 4 games 2-2. You had to. It's a tough 4 games. At Dolphins, versus Browns, at Bills, at Texans. That is absolutely brutal. You blow the game against Miami. That should have been a win. So you have to beat the Browns, and you no-show against the Browns. You no-show. Yes, the Browns have good defense. I acknowledge that, but they're not good on the road. They weren't last year. I'm going to be honest with you with my thoughts for this season. If we win 6 games, it'll be a miracle. Where's the wins? And more importantly, if this team gets out of whack early, where's the motivation? This team was built so poorly by Trent Baalke. And I was nervous coming this season. I said, there's no depth, and we're already being tested, and we're failing. We got Mitch Morse, which I still think is a good signing for the interior, but we did nothing else to try and solidify the line, and we're getting their doors blown off both in the run and the pass game again. Should have used a draft pick on somebody on the interior, and you didn't, at least not early enough. The defensive line is still in shambles. You have absolutely no depth behind Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. But then again, Trayvon Walker shouldn't even be there. It should be Aiden Hutchinson. But you decided to be hipsters and go with Trayvon Walker because he was a workout warrior at the combine. Yeah. He had 10 sacks last year. He had 2 last week. Yeah. Well, you know what? He's still not the best player in that draft. Still is Aiden Hutchinson. I'd still rather have him. Because then maybe you don't pay Giants to Hines Allen to no-show. Yeah, sack today. I guess he had a no-show, but I'm not going to give the defense too much shit because I think the defense is going to be the only reason why the Jags are in games this year. But this offense is terrible. And if Press Taylor's still calling plays, I hope Shad Khan just fires everybody mid-season at this point. But he won't do that. The only reason why he fired Urban Meyer mid-season was because of just the circumstances of that entire season. So am I calling the season over? Yeah, I am. I said this team could be 0-6. And worst case scenario, let's look at the rest of the schedule. They're at Buffalo, at Houston. I mentioned those games. Does anyone that's a realistic Jags fan have any confidence they're winning those 2 games? You are either the most optimistic person on the planet, or you are completely out of touch with reality. That's the 2. You got the Colts at home. That can be a winnable game for sure. And we've beaten Indianapolis at home like 8 or 9 straight years. So, yeah. Then we go to London for the Bears and Patriots. Those are both winnable games. But, again, do I trust the offense to score enough points? No, I don't. They should be winnable games. But if you don't come out of that 1-6, or if you come out of that 1-7 or 2-6, then you got the Packers, Eagles, Vikings, Lions, and Texans again right after that. Before you finally get a reprieve with maybe a reprieve with Titans, Jets, Raiders, Titans, Colts. You have to get to the final 5 games in a playoff position to take advantage of the softer schedule of the final 5 games. But at this point, if you don't think they're looking at the Jaguars game going, yeah, that's a winnable game. They should be. This team's a failure. And it's on Baalke. It's on Doug Pearson. It's on the Cons. And quite frankly, I really want the Cons to sell the team. I think Shad Khan's not a bad guy. I don't think he's the worst owner in sports in terms of personality or person, but he's a pretty terrible owner when it comes to running a franchise, at least a winning one. Since he's owned the team, the Jags have been an embarrassment to their fans, to the league, and should be to themselves. Their embarrassment. And I've heard Shad Khan say, well, we need to win now or things are going to change, and nothing happens. We did that with Doug Marrone, right? We gave him like another year after he said it. This will be the second time in less than a decade that we took a playoff team and completely butchered it and completely fucked it up. Now, maybe you could sit there and say the 2022 team was not as good as they as they end up making it to be with the run to the divisional round, and I won't disagree with you, but you still build on that. And they did. It seemed like it. They were 8-3. Can you believe that after 11 games last year they were 8-3? That seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? What are they, 1-7 in their last 8, and haven't been particularly good? Because they've lost a lot of mediocre at best teams. Look, folks, I hope maybe you're out there and you're Jags fan, like you are way too down right now on this team. You gotta give them a break. You know, they're gonna go into Buffalo next week and get it back and blah 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 blah. If you honestly believe that, I envy you. I think we're gonna get doors blown off, and I think that's when the wheels fully. I won't even say fall off, because that would require the wheels to be on in the first place, and I'm not convinced that we just didn't put some stone wheels, like fucking stone blocks, cinder blocks as our wheels, and go, oh wait, why ain't the car running? This team is an embarrassment, man. It's an absolute embarrassment. And right now, this might be my most hated Jaguars team in maybe ever. Like, I just look at this team and I absolutely hate it. I hate it for what it is. I hate it for how it's built. I hate it for who's running it. You can't fire the owner. And honestly, at this point, even if they did fire Balk, fire Peterson, fire Press, where's the trust that they'll get it right the second time? I sure as hell don't have that trust. I sure as hell don't. I can't imagine any of you do. You'll probably hire some dipshit that... And then what, we go through another rebuild? Well, I'm glad, you know, we have Trevor at $55 million a year. Yay! He's had 2 opportunities to lead game-winning drives, and, well, he failed miserably at both. Oh, am I being hard? Don't take a $55 million contract, then. Win one of them. Win one of them. Well, the offensive line, this, and the courts. Do something. I agree, Press Taylor's an awful offensive coordinator, and I don't know how much he's calling the plays, but if he's calling the plays at all at this point, that is a fireable offense for Doug Peterson. And ironically, that is why he got fired from Philadelphia in the first place, is because he would not fire coordinators. Actually, I'm looking up something. Sorry if you hear the... Okay, so he wasn't the coordinator in Philly, but he was a quarterback's coach and passing game coordinator on a bad Philly team. He's a bad coordinator. I'm sorry, he is. He might be a fine coach maybe elsewhere, but he's a bad offense coordinator. We just got to stop. Doug, I'm normally the guy that says head coach should not call plays, and I'm usually like that, but Press Taylor's not the answer. I'm afraid Doug isn't going to want to get rid of him, and I think that's going to cost him his job. And is that for the best? I don't know. I was somebody that defended Doug coming into the season. I defended Trevor. I acknowledged the flaws, but I said, you know, for a Jacksonville team, you know, for a team that has been so poor so long to even have this quality is okay. And now they're proving that, and then they're just looking at me and going, well, fuck you, you know. We said it's amazing. I don't give my opinions a lot when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I get proven so wrong so often, and it doesn't matter how informed I am. It just feels like the exact opposite happens. And I'm just done. I'm done with any feeling of hope with this team. I'm back to prove it. If you want me back, prove it. If you want me to care, prove it. If you want me to spend money on merchandise or tickets to the games or anything like that to show great fandom, fucking prove it. Why can you be ass for 25 fucking years and have the audacity to expect your fans to care? Why is that a thing? You can't make 4 playoff appearances since 2000 and expect your fans to care. You can't. It's ridiculous. After 2022, I consider buying some actual merch for the first time in years. And I said, no, I'm not proved yet. 1 year is not proved. The year was awesome. It was magical. The playoff comeback was magical. But 1 year, I've been burned before. Not that long ago. And we did it. We did it again. We did the same fucking thing. Did the same fucking thing. I guess at least we're misery is company, because our sibling team, our sister team that came with us in the 1995 expansion era is just as awful, if not worse, than us, which is kind of a miracle. Folks, I'll continue doing these for the rest of the season, but don't expect them to be, even after wins, don't expect me to be, unless we go on a run, don't expect me to be any more happier-go-lucky than this, because this team's a failure. This team is ass. This team is trash. And I'm done defending them. I'm done putting my thoughts out there and defending them and making myself look like ass, because once again the Jags be jagging. Jags be jagging. I don't care about the weather today. I don't care about any of that. Today, you had to win this game, and you come out once. I don't even know, man. So Shad Khan, Trent Balk, Doug Pearson, go fuck yourselves. I'm done. All 3 of them can go. I understand the owners won't. And honestly, at this point, Tony Khan should have nothing to do with the Jaguars. Go do AEW, man. That's your passion project. Stop being any. I think he's a significant part of the Jaguars. Stop. Just stop. You're doing a poor job, man. You're doing an awful job. And that's all I gotta say today. That's the way I'm gonna leave it. On the next Monday.